Hi everybody, welcome to another video. I'm Mohammed, and in today's video we're going to be building a very simple like a Facebook or Twitter or social network like uh, feed wall basically. Like if we do a shameless plug, just a second, and if we go to my Twitter for example, yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen all of you guys have seen like how this one works, and you've always wondered like how exactly do I do this? Like you're probably wondering, like is it something that's connected to a database, or is it something like that uses objects or loops or whatever? Well, believe it or not, it's actually very similar to the shopping cart that we built a couple of weeks back. So have a look at that video below if you want to learn more about how I did that. But in this video, we're going to actually be building something like this, but a bit, oops. So something like this basically, but a bit less complicated. So let's get started. So yeah, if I show you another example, uh, I am I am sleepy. No, I am in Thailand. No. Mm, okay, what's a country I can think of? I'm in UK, for example. All right, see? And by man, I am in UK. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I've actually already built this video today. Sorry, like I've built like how it's supposed to work, and I've built the functionality. So today we're actually not gonna focus on the uh, we're not going to focus on the HTML and CSS or the design or whatever like that, but we are going to be focusing on the functionality of it, like the JavaScript functionality, like what I used, how I got to it, that kind of thing. So yeah, let's get started on this part. Okay, so yeah, so as you guys can see, the HTML and CSS is pretty standard HTML and CSS, and I used like pretty standard flex and stuff like that to get you through the door, you could say. So yeah, if we get to the JavaScript, which is I can imagine the part that you're more interested in, let's first get rid of all of this. And I've copied over like to help me as a guide. I've copied this over like on another file, and this is the functionality here, so I can like just do it gradually. So as a coder, as a tip, a lot of people unfortunately tend to suffer from imposter syndrome, or they have this mentality where like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing, how the heck am I gonna figure this out? That's actually they think like people assume like, oh, you need to code like straight from your head and into the lines, but actually a lot of the times that's not true. Like uh to be honest with you, it is true in a way, because the more you learn coding, the better you get at it, and that is a fact. Like you'll be able to like write straight from your head. But when you're a beginner, or when you're intermediate, or when you're working on something you've never worked on before, you'll go back and like you'll have to look at how stuff works from another website or Stack Overflow or GitHub or wherever, just to be able to figure out. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So yeah, as I was saying, let's get started. So if we break down the code I've built over here, and I'm gonna like, it's not really a long spread, it's just literally 50 lines of code, less than 50 actually. So yeah, so if we start, yeah, so I've created like a my tweet object area, and then I created a div area, which is like the wall, you can call it, and it's called the tweet area. Basically, I've created like a for loop here, and it loops through the two elements, like the tweet content and the tweet by over here. And I've created another area. This area basically like creates the thing, and it sort of like tells it, oh okay, like use this function to show this stuff here. Anyway, so yeah, and the last two important parts I have are, it's like I created a function called create tweet. You can create any functions that you like, but basically this function is sort of like a clean way of adding tweets, like adding elements into a JSON array, or a for loop or whatever, because it just makes it so much easier. So the last part I have is the button function. And so with the button, I've created like a submit tweet button. As you guys can see here, this is the submit tweet button. and by digress. And in this function, I've added event prevent default. And the reason why you do that is because you don't want your page to refresh. Like you really don't want your page to refresh, because without this button, just a second, let me show you guys a quick example. Look, the page refreshes. But if I don't have that, but because I have this one, this prevent like the usual functionality of the page being submitted. Anyway, so yeah. And what this does is, yeah, my naming kind of sucks a bit, so I have to get better at that. But anyways, and what this does is, it creates like an element called, sorry, like, this is the person who's tweeting this thing, basically. So it's usually by MA or by Johnny or by whatever. Uh, yeah, and that's basically how it works. So the tweeter is man, but let's call it John. By digress. Yeah, let's just call him John Doe. Doe. You can also call him Jane Doe as well. But anyways, so yeah, and then what it does is it pushes the the thingy that we built it pushes like into the array, and this is in theory supposed to like clear the array, but we can worry about this one later. And here you create the HTML element. So yeah, let's get started, and I'll be calling this as I type along. Okay, so yeah, tweet. Okay, so I'm sure you guys already know what about let and const, but if you don't, like, let is like a super new variable. Like it's a new feature in JavaScript. It was only introduced in 2017, I think 18, and what it does is it basically helps you out. Like it's like the way to use a global variable basically, and it's because it can be used multiple times. And there's also const. Const can only be used once basically, but yeah. So yeah, let's just create this over here, and my tweet. Cool, and there we have it. Like this is the first part done, and the reason why, so let's call this my div as well, because we don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna basically merely copy it, but I'm gonna explain what I'm doing exactly. So yeah, so document dot get element by ID. Oops. Uh, tweet area, because this is the main area that we play with, you can say. So, and if we create a for loop, I'm sure everyone knows in the world knows how to create a for loop. For, oops, var equals I, sorry. This is like the beginning of the loop, you can say. It's like, oh, okay, start at this point. And you want to compare it against something. So the I thing is like the element, the beginning element. So it usually starts from 0, and you need to compare it against something. It always needs to be less than something. So tweet area, my tweet. So again, like my tweet is over here. And I'm sure you guys already know about the dot length property. In case you don't know, dot length tells basically JavaScript, okay, how much stuff is in this thing. So for example, let's say you're building an input field, like a simple input field, and you don't want people to type something into the input unless, sorry, like you don't want people to submit something into the input if they haven't put in 10 characters, for example. So you can use this as a way, but again, and you also always want to initialize this one. Oops, I plus plus. So this one basically initializes, you can say. So this is the beginning. This is like what we're comparing it against, and this is, we initialize it here. So yeah. So basically what we're doing is we're basically looping through my div, and we're putting in my tweet in here. So we're looping my div inside here. And anyways, let me show you guys what I mean. My, oops. Dot inner HTML dot inner HTML equals, and remember, always have plus equals, because what this does is it sort of extends something. Like if you use plus equals, it extends something. But again, like always look up the stuff yourself because it's super interesting. So yeah, and remember, .inner HTML tells it to change the thing or add things to it, basically. Anyway, so if we do this, my tweet I dot tweet content dot tweet oops, and you guys will see later down there where like how all of the stuff it becomes relevant. I'm sure you already know about the concatenation. Yeah, concatenation. And remember, guys, this is always important, like to take on these mini challenges because they really help you to keep your skills sharp. Anyway, so yeah, like if I just copy this one as well very quickly, and if I do this, the Twitter lol. Cool. Anyways, so the I thing is like the object in the property, you can say. Anyways, so yeah, cool. So yeah, if we do this for, again, we're gonna create the second one. For let I equals 0, I is less than. Okay, so we're gonna create a const here. Oops. Const tweet equals my tweet. Again, like we're accessing this property, you can say tweet, and this is the function I spoke about. So it's called tweet element. Just to save time, I am actually just gonna copy this over because again, like we don't have a lot of time in these videos. Cool. So yeah, so we're appending the child. So my div, you guys remember my div, and it appends the child, like it adds the element that we created inside of here. So yeah, nice. We're mostly halfway through now, which is awesome. Cool. So yeah, let's actually create the function my tweet. Function create tweet element, and also let's call it tweet because we need this thing to like help us out basically. Like this is oops. Now actually like okay, so I do have to confess something important, guys. There are actually easier ways to do this thing. So what I mean by this is like, for example, you can just use jQuery to like cut down this code in half. But again, like because like this is aimed at like people who want to refresh their skills or just people who are interested in YouTube channels or whatever, this is why I'm doing it this way. Anyway, so by digress, so let's create the tweet element. So if we create const, oops, tweet element equals, you can actually create elements using like just in JavaScript basically. Create element, and it's a div basically. And remember, guys, don't forget if you're ever working in JavaScript or whatever or different files, always check the difference between this and this and how they play out. Like basically, that's really important. So yeah, if we just copy this over very quickly again, because we don't have a lot of time. So, and what this does is it will add a class list. So it adds the tweet element thingy. And you can even create like using JavaScript, you can actually create like inside JavaScript. So it's a bit like that React thing that we did a while back. Okay, cool. So yeah. Cool. So now if we do sorry, Now if we do the like the button itself, document dot yeah document dot get element by id. And remember, it's a safe bet to use an id because it's the quickest thing. Dot on click equals. So this is how we like, and remember, this is like the new uh, ES6 thingy. Like it's a new way of doing things using JavaScript. So this is like a function. And if we, oopsie, console, oops. See, okay, so now, oops, right, we have a small mistake somewhere. How could this happen to me? I made my mistake. Right, we need to fix this mistake first before we can go on. Okay, I think the mistake is I might have way too many parentheses. Okay, yeah, I have way too much stuff in here. Yeah, as you guys can see, I kind of have, oops. Again, let's just do this. If we go back to onClick, equals, okay, so yeah, if we give this another shot, like if you're ever struggling with this kind of thing, just do this. This is the easiest way. And then oops, okay, so yeah, if we do this, and we haven't forgotten about the like the function itself. Cool, yeah, so if we do this, alert, hi there. Okay, and let's add in the world famous e.prevent default. Again, like prevent default. Yeah. Okay. Again, like for simplicity's sake, we are actually almost halfway through. See, there we have it, everyone. There we have it. Okay, we've successfully like created like a button connector element thingy. So yeah, if we continue now, so what we're doing now is like using the MA thingy. Cool. So yeah, the first thing we want to do actually is let's create the my tweet object const new tweet equals. So yeah, this is the object, and this object has tweet content equals MA because MA is basically this thing here. Like the element is called man because my naming is a bit silly, but anyways, oops. Yeah, tweet content, yeah. But let's give it a proper name first. So um, let's let tweet let tweet input. Yeah, let's call it tweet in oops. Okay. Document dot get element by ID. Oops. Get element by class name and 0. Do you guys know why we need to add 0? we add 0 because 0 is the first value that it needs to get. So for example, if I don't add 0, there's a good chance it won't know what I am referring to. So it's always important to have, as a security like precaution, it's always good to have that one. And don't forget to grab the value. Cool. So yeah, so tweet input, and if we go to tweet content, we're getting this one from here. And then let's get the tweeter as well, Mr. John Doe. He's a great guy, I've heard lots of great things. Anyway, so yeah, so my tweet, and we're gonna push this thing into it. Push new, oops, new tweet. And just a second, guys. Uh, value. Okay, so yeah. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, if we add in the last part, yeah, for time's sake, because I don't know, I don't want this video to go on too long. Let's add in the last part, and basically what we're doing is we're accessing like the function like called create my tweet. We're putting in the new tweet here, and then we're appending that child. So yeah, tweet input. I'm not sure why tweet input isn't working, to be honest with you. So this is the part I'm trying to figure out very quickly. Okay, so for simplicity's sake, let's re-add this in here. Tweet content. Cool. So yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah. Ah, I see. I think I know what the problem is. I might, yeah, if we just copy this over, let's see what happens. Man. Okay, I am missing something in there. Okay, so my tweet dot push is now a function. Okay, yeah, this is why sometimes I don't like it, because it can go wrong for you at the last possible minute. But yeah, as you guys can see, like it's not the hardest thing in the world. Is not a function. My tweet dot push is not a function. I wonder why. Okay, so if you're ever working and like you're struggling with code and stuff like that, uh, let's go to Google very quickly. Okay, so compare. Yeah, diff checker is a great website. It's a really great one. Use web version because I do not want pay. Okay, right. So if we get started, let's find the difference. Okay, yeah. So the difference is mainly like mostly like document dot get element by ID submit. Let my tweet, let my div for function create element, return tweet. Basically, there's a small problem here, but I'm not sure where it is. But again, because of how long the video is, I don't want it to be too long. So let's just say we sort of built it. See, like VR. Okay, I need to figure out what the hell VR is. By John Doe. Cool. So yeah, that's actually, guys, how like easy it is to like build a tweet element function thingy, and it can actually teach you a lot because it teaches you like functions, arrays, for loops, like uh, array pushes, and quite a lot of stuff. Um, I think like for the next video, I'm gonna go with something a bit simpler, just to show you guys how like the basics of these basics work. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. And I do have a really exciting mini series I'm gonna do where I'm gonna build like a basic e-commerce website, like with different e-commerce functionality. So yeah, shameless plug. As always, if you guys really like my content, please comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in.